Hey everybody, it's your pal Mubbo, and today we're going to talk a little bit about the entire saga of my computer problems with my Corsair 1 tower. I don't have a script written. I'm just going to freeform it, and I'd like to start right at the very beginning and just go over everything that's been happening because I think it's finally at an end. Please forgive the really crappy resolution of this camera. I have 3 webcams, and because I had to get a new computer, and I'll get into that later, for some reason 2 of my really good webcams don't work. Like you plug it in, the light comes on, but then the display, like when you go into camera to like see what the camera's seeing, it's blank. So I figured I would test it on YouTube. So when I plugged it in and tried to get it to run, it just said there's been an error. Please try again, and it wouldn't recognize the camera. So I'm using my son's really crappy, cheap, old webcam. That's the only one out of the 3 that works. So let's get into this. And of course, because this is not a Warhol Diary video, you get the theme song. Who's the girl who never answers her phone? Who's the girl who's never flown a drone? Who's the girl who loves to bitch and moan? Well, her name is, you know who it is, Mubbo. So we're going to go back about 2 years, back to 2024, when these computer problems first started. Slideshow. So this is my Corsair 1. I tried to find a receipt for it. I'm sure that Mr. Mubbo has it somewhere. Look at this camera. Look what it's doing. It keeps like auto refocusing. So I don't know if I'm going to have to get another camera or what. This whole thing is just really annoying me. Okay, look at this. Well, anyway, this is my Corsair 1. I tried to find a receipt for it. I couldn't. So I went through like some old pictures that maybe I took of my office where it was like sitting on my desk. And the oldest picture I could find was from 2020. So it's going on 7 years that I've had this computer. And my problem started around 2024. Now, this was not a cheap computer. As you can see, here's some other models. You know, they range anywhere from like $2,000 to like almost $5,000. I think I paid around $3,000 for my tower. And like I said, that was around 2020. So it's obviously gone up in price since then. I'm not going to say that it's a bad computer. It was extremely fast. It was well built. It was overpowered for what I was using for. My original plan with my YouTube channel was to play some games, and I wanted to have some fun with GTA 5, maybe do something like the worst gamer in the world kind of thing, and with just me failing at every mission and dying constantly. But as the years have gone by, and as I've watched more people play games, and you watch something like Elden Ring with someone just dying over and over and over, it's not the most exciting thing to watch. So I kind of got out of that mindset that I was going to start playing games, and I started talking about my life, and I started talking about things that I've done and memories and childhood, and then I came up with the idea of reading the Warhol Diary and doing summaries and deep dives, and I think that's the direction I'm going to go. And look at this webcam. So this computer was not being fully utilized for what I originally had planned to do with it. But it worked fantastic. It was in a really, really good machine. However, there were some problems that had started. I started getting this. This was around 2024, and this started running in tandem with the computer just randomly shutting off, and it would just go to a black screen, and it would turn on again and write itself, and then work for a couple of weeks, and then it would just randomly shut off again, like the computer would just turn off everything, and then it would restart. And then I started getting this message that the critical process died, and something about like a stop code and this kind of thing. So, of course, I tried calling Corsair and spent a lot of time on the phone with them, trying to figure out what is going on. And it's no easy feat to try to get in touch with Corsair. Once you actually do get somebody on the phone, they are all overseas workers, which is fine. I have no issue with people that want to work. If you're knowledgeable about computers and you can offer your assistance, I'm all about that. However, when they start getting into things like, well, you have a really old machine and, this and that, and you start complaining and all of a sudden they're just, yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am, but not offering any real solutions. Basically, they ended up telling me that there's nothing they can really do for me, but maybe I can consider buying a new computer. Well, I wasn't ready to give up on that yet. So I'm just going to go over some of the other things that I was seeing. So I actually started writing down, look at this webcam. I started writing down everything that was happening because I had planned to take it into Best Buy. So this says like the machine was sometimes shut down on its own as far back as December 2024, but always came back on and it functioned normally. However, on May 2nd, 2025, the machine kept shutting down with a specific event code of 1001, I believe that's a 6. On May 10th, that was the first time I've seen something called a BIOS screen, which I had no idea what that was. And then I was getting these random application errors, stop codes, and the critical process, and then the NVIDIA, however you say that, NVIDIA, whatever, NVIDIA, all these exe files and DLL applications, and all kinds of things. And I took this into Best Buy and I just said, I'm getting all of these errors. I just need it fixed. And the computer keeps shutting off. So that was about a year ago now that I took it in. Also, what you can't see on this is that on the bottom, there's like some miscellaneous errors. It's called an IO error I was getting. I started to become really angry at the way this camera was going, so I just set up my screen. And I know that some of the, the basement dwelling, tech nerds are going to be like, well, you should have known all this, and you don't know how to work a computer. Why'd you get this big gaming computer? Maybe you should get a jitterbug computer, or maybe look into a GrandPad. That would be better. You know what? I appreciate that, but I had nothing to do with the purchase of this machine. Mr. Mubbo just did the best research that he could, and I told him what I wanted, and he said this machine would work great. And yes, it would. It would work amazing if I didn't start having problems. So then I started getting something that looked like this. This is the BIOS screen. So I soon learned that the BIOS screen wasn't something that I was going to be able to do on my own. And I learned this just recently, that the BIOS is not included in regular Windows updates on the Corsair machines. You or someone has to go to either the manufacturer's website or the Corsair website itself, download a copy of the update onto a flash, and then you go into it's one of this flash thing right here. God, look at the delay on this. And that flash would go to a screen, and then you can upload the BIOS, and then apparently it will work. So I was telling the guys at Best Buy about this, and they said that they would do what they could. I says, can you just like do the update, and then, that'll be the end of it. So I got a call that it was ready to be picked up. Now, Best Buy to me is just about an hour away. So it's not like an easy ride, right up the street. It's highway miles an hour. So I get there, and I like the Best Buy guys. I appreciate everything that they do, but it is run like a shop where I'm sure that they have a quota that they have to fill, and they have to get machines in and out of there at a certain time, and they have to keep track of their numbers. And that's what it felt like to me when I walked in there. There were a lot of people in there waiting for things, and I know that they're very busy, but I would have liked if they would have spent a little bit more time, because when I went to go pick it up, I specifically asked the guy, who was not the person that I dropped it off with. I asked him, is it fixed? And his answer was, we did what you asked them to do. And I said, that's not answering my question. Like, is the problem this BIOS thing, or is it something else? And he's like, whatever you asked them to do, that's what they did. So I says, okay. I brought it home, plugged it in, and wouldn't you know it, within 2 hours, it was going blank again, and this BIOS screen was back again. I said, all right, well, this isn't going to work. I'm not taking it back. Even though they suckered me into the yearly, whatever it is, the maintenance thing. But now I got to drive like another hour to drop it back off again. I said, forget this. So I called up a local computer shop. I explained what I thought was happening. I says, I have all the codes. I have all the errors. Can you just please take a look at this thing? He said, yeah, bring it in. Nice guy. Small shop. They're not on anybody's time schedule. He gave me the impression that he would sit with this machine and just really try to figure out what was wrong. So I took it in, dropped it off, left it with him. He called me and said that he thinks he got it. He was able to get a BIOS update. He says it took a little work, but he was able to find one. However, it was from like 2021. So it's not like the newest BIOS update, but it was a BIOS update. So he uploaded that for me, sent the machine back, and it's been working pretty fine for almost a year now. About 2 weeks ago, my computer took a Windows update, and it restarted, and it popped back on, because I had it, restart and turn back on after update. And wouldn't you know it, the computer screen popped up and the BIOS screen was up again. And I says, I'm not going through this again. I'm not taking it back to Best Buy. I'm just going to call that computer guy, and I'm going to ask him if he could take another look at the BIOS. And I brought it in, and he said that he would do what he could. He didn't really think there was much he could do, because unless another BIOS was released, he would just have to install the same one over again, which wasn't helping at all. However, it held on for a year. So I said, just do what you could. So he said that he spent over 3 hours trying to get through to somebody at Corsair, and nobody was picking up. So finally he gave up, and he mailed in, or how, like through their portal or whatever, he submitted a help ticket. And they replied, and they said, we're sorry, but we're no longer offering updates for this motherboard. So he called me back and he said, look, there's nothing I can do. They're not supporting it anymore. And I thought that was ridiculous. If you sell something, shouldn't you be responsible for the upkeep? I'm not saying like forever, but this computer is only like 5 years old. That's not a long time. When I buy something, I expect service. I expect that for me supporting your business, you're going to continue to support your products. But they don't seem interested in that. They don't answer questions. They just try to push you towards getting another machine. And I mean, in the description of this video, it says, fix it or give my damn money back. And I know that sounds like a boomer thing to say, but I mean, you can't just sell thousands of dollars of machines to people and then, oh, sorry, sorry, this thing doesn't work anymore, but we're not supporting it anymore. Would you like to buy a new one? So I started looking around for some problems with Corsair, and apparently this is a known issue. They apparently are not releasing this bio update, and it's killing Intel chips. And this was 2025, so last year, which luckily my computer just happened to hold out. But you could see like $5,000 machines are being like ruined. So then I go where all the experts go, all the computer experts and doctors and law experts. They all go to Reddit, and this is a very big problem. And you can read through this article. And it says, the BIOS version, it hasn't been updated in about a year and a half. And they're releasing like important security updates, and my computer's not getting those security updates because of these. It's unpatched. Oh my god! Look at this! Look at this webcam! Oh my god! Also, I thought it was interesting. If you read the first sentence, Corsair users cannot fix the BIOS themselves. So even if I tried putting it on a flash drive, I would not be able to do it myself. And it means users are stuck with known vulnerabilities that already have public fixes available, but they won't release it. I cannot take this webcam. It's a locked system that prevents users from securing their own PCs. I can tell you this right now, and I know like the tech guys are gonna come after me and say, well, you should know how to run your computer. Like, what are you even doing buying a computer like this if you don't know how to take care? Look, there is not one single person in my age group. I'm in my mid-50s, and I've had computers for like 30 years. Not ever have I said, boy, I can't wait to get a new machine and be my own IT department. I can't wait to do my own fixes on this. I shouldn't have to do this. This is a Corsair issue. This is this company doing this on purpose. They knowingly do this. Corsair customers pay premium prices but are getting worse security support than anyone using the same MSI hardware directly. And what's even funnier is that if you go on their Discord or on some message chat board or something and you mention anything about a BIOS, they just delete the conversation. They shut down the community forums in August of 2025, saying they were being moved to Discord and Reddit. Oh my god, I can't take this. I'm so sorry for this webcam. I'm going to have to do something about this. So the problem is Corsair. And I don't understand why they won't offer updates or just agree to fix it. Like, I'm okay with, hey, you know what, this is out of warranty, but if you take it to this place, they'll be able to fix it for you, but you'll have to pay for the repairs. I'm good with that. But really, like, my computer is unusable. I can't even sell it. I can't do anything with it. And I don't understand why this company is just able to keep doing this. Here's some things. Uh, they use a proprietary BIOS, and it results in update errors. And their Corsair is known for lagging behind and releasing patches. Uh, you can also like brick your motherboard if you try to like do this yourself. Like I'm reading the instructions on how to do this on the flash drive, and I'm like, well, it doesn't seem that hard. But then like you start really reading into this and saying, well, if I do this wrong, it's going to be like a completely useless PC. So I'm not going to do anything with it, which is what started me on the hunt for somebody to fix this computer. This is from a YouTube video. They deliver the newest update, but the fact that you can't even do it yourself is crazy. He's always had issues with all three of the Corsair products. Somebody mentions that Corsair could be liable for damages, but I mean, who's gonna think to sue them? I mean, the only thing that you could probably do is, a class action suit. And I'm telling you, I filed a complaint with the FTC, but they even said that they don't respond to individual complaints. What they'll do is like they'll start compiling something under the file of Corsair to see if there's any other people that are filing the same complaints. And it seems like some people don't even know that Corsair has been able to do this, or pre-built companies are just able to just cut off the ability to update or fix their own machines. I mean, if somebody knows how to do it, they should be able to. I would never try, but I mean, and even so, like, even if you don't want to do it, like, give Best Buy and computer repair shops the ability to make these changes so that you don't have a completely useless computer. I can't take this anymore. So what you have to look for is companies like Dell. They use Windows Update for their BIOS. HP and Lenovo also. You don't have to worry about BIOS issues with them. And actually on my new PC, because what I had to end up doing is I'm starting a job pretty soon where I need a computer. I'm going to be working on my home computer. I can't use my Corsair anymore. So I had to go out and buy a refurbished Dell computer. And I said right off the bat, I don't care. I don't care about anything else, but I don't want to have these BIOS issues. And the guy at the repair shop says, Dell takes care of their BIOS issues in their Windows updates. I said, okay, fine. But now I just have to figure out how come my two really good webcams won't work with this thing. There's this refurbished computer was a business computer. It's from around 2022. It's actually newer, than my Corsair, so it should be able to handle the webcams. So I don't know what's going on with it, but it's been just a constant annoyance. And on top of, $300 for the Best Buy, and then another, $300 each time I took it to the repair shop, because he had to spend all that time on the phone and, tweaking things and trying things. And then on top of that, I had to spend another $800 on a new computer for something that could easily be fixed if they would just release it to the public and let us make the changes, or let, third parties make the changes. And if you're going to choose not to let that happen, then you need to release the updates. And as I said, I would take it to wherever you told me to. Hey, we deal with this one company. They're a licensed, they're a licensed subcontractor for us. You can take it there, but you'll have to pay for the update. I will absolutely do that. But the fact that they're just not making this available and the computers are just failing, that is a terrible way to do business. So now, I'm getting a Dell, I guess. Remember this guy? This Dell guy. Dude, you're getting a Dell. Apparently, like, he's a new age, like, positive positivity speaker now. Dude, you're getting well, the podcast. I'm glad he's doing well. Anyway, I don't want to take up too much more time, but I mean, my computer is just, it's a doorstop, basically. And of course, AI is like, you shouldn't be doing this. You could cause a tripping hazard or component down. I can't make it worse. I can't do anything to make this computer worse. It is, it is beyond repair. So if there's anybody out there that wants this Corsair computer, you can reach out to me and we can work something out. I'll wipe it. You can tinker with it. You could do whatever but I don't know what to do with it unless they send out a fix for it. So that's the whole thing. That's the whole saga. Thanks for watching. MUBBO.